What's up guys, MJGB here, and today we've got the 8th installment of the Gun Game Chronicles series, this week using the M14. Now, you may have noticed that the gameplay started somewhat abruptly, and this was because the game had some host migration at the start, so this is where the gameplay begins in theatre, because yes, it's theatre recorded, but you should enjoy it anyway. Now, I wanted to do a longer commentary today, because I haven't really done one for a while, one where I can discuss like a topic that's important to me, and give it the proper, thorough little discussion that it deserves. So this video is only a few minutes long, but I've added a second M14 game on over the top so that you get twice the gameplay and I get twice the amount of time that I can talk about today's topic of the day. Now, today's topic of the day is Mac versus PC. Now, this is a topic I chose because everybody will have an opinion on it, because everybody has used a PC, I would like to think, if you're using YouTube right now. So, everybody will have an opinion on what is better, Mac or PC. And I don't want to have to say Windows-based PC all the time, so please do just take PC as that, as a Windows-based PC. I know it just means personal computer, but for the sakes of ease, I don't want to have to repeat myself with a big long piece of Windows-based PC, Windows-based PC. It just saves me time. So this is a topic close to my heart, and as a little bit of a background, I've used Windows-based PCs for a good 10 years, and I've been on everything from Windows 95, 98, ME, XP, Vista, 7, and I'm quite familiar with it. I've used Windows-based PCs for gaming, for audio editing, for image editing, for writing, web design, internet, pretty much everything. And I would consider myself quite a techie person. I mean, I'm doing video game commentaries on YouTube as a hobby, so of course I'm a bit of a geek. So, I've always wanted a Macintosh. I don't know why, I've just always found they are quite appealing to me. I think it's because I like quite cool, stylish, sleek things. And also, I love the way that Apple has the covert advertising when they're watching films. 'Cause I know when I've watched films, I've gone, "Oh, that computer looks cool. I wanna buy one of those. I want to use one of those." So their covert advertising in films and TV has definitely also influenced me. And fair play to Apple for funding that sort of product placement, because it worked on me, and I'm sure it's worked on many other people. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not some bewildered customer who doesn't know what sort of computer to get. I don't watch a film and go, "Ooh, that's a pretty computer, I think I'll buy that one." I do consider myself quite a geek. I mean, I have advanced qualifications in IT, video game development, computing, so I know my way around technology. But I chose to choose a Mac. I chose to buy a Mac. Sorry, I just confused myself then. Not solely for the aesthetic design, but for what's underneath the hood. Now, a couple of years back, I invested in the very basic white MacBook model, which is the lowest tier of Mac computers. I could only afford this at 17. I had a summer job the year earlier, so I had a little bit of money, but all I could afford was this very basic Mac laptop. And so I thought, right, I'm going to go all in, I'm going to buy it, it's something I want, I'm going to just trust my instincts on this. And I quite honestly haven't looked back since. It's quite possibly one of the best purchases I've made in my life, alongside my Xbox 360, and that's about it. I can't really think of any other credible purchases I've made. I usually buy crap. Now, in summer, my experience with my Mac has been so good that in summer I'm going to be buying an iMac, which, for those of you who don't know, that's the desktop Mac computer, or one of the desktop Mac computers that you can buy. And I'm going to be spending a couple of grand on it, so about £2,000. Now, I know a lot of you will be like, "What? Why are you going to do that? There's Windows-based PCs for a lot cheaper than that." And I know there are. But I'll explain why I'm compelled to spend so much money on a computer when I could buy a Windows-based one for half the price. Why must I pay more for Apple? Well, firstly, and this isn't really a point, but more just to explain why I'm not deviating away from Apple, I'm not a PC gamer. So I have an Xbox 360, I have a PS3, DS, PSP. I only play 2 games on my Mac, Football Manager and Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, both of which do not require any sense of heavily in like capable graphics, and I don't know why, I just messed all that up. Basically, they're not very graphic intensive. They are very much about numbers, and the Star Wars game is very old, so it doesn't require too much intensity. So I'm not like deterred from buying a Mac for the sense of PC gaming, because I don't require PC gaming. Secondly, I can afford to buy a Mac. Now, this is one of the main points and where the main criticism for Apple lies, in the pricing for the computers. Now, the way I look at it, Apple computers are like a premium product. So fashion labels charge much more money than the high street. Things like Heinz beans and other branded foods cost more than supermarket own brand foods. And so why can't Apple, who are big innovators in terms of their computers, their technology and stuff? I mean, you have to only look at the iPhone, the iPad, see how many like copycats are now on the market to show how much of an influence they've had on technology. So why can't Apple brand themselves as a premium product? You may think, oh, what a rich brat listening to me, but believe me, I'm a working class individual through and through. I'm a manual labourer. My laptop stole all my savings. My computer's going to do the same. I don't have like a large amount of expenditure that I can just throw away money mindlessly, but I'm investing it. I don't see it as spending money on a computer. I see it as investing in something that I can use and something that I will use a lot of. I'm like a tycoon who buys a sports club or a football club, and it may cost me money. I might not get a lot out of it, but I'll have fun with it, and it'll be something that I enjoy using. So that's the way that I sort of look at it. Thirdly, I'm not a typical consumer. Now, I'm not really being big-headed, but I'm quite a special consumer. I am a student, and I'm studying a broadcasting course, which involves a lot of production, both video and audio, as well as potentially image and all sorts of things like that. So it doesn't take a genius to figure out what the industry standard pretty much is. And in terms of production, Macs are used by designers and producers and all sorts. So I kind of figured this when I started my whole little, I want to be a whatever when I grow up. And this was the predominant reason for picking Mac, was that it was very much used in the industry, and designers used it a lot, freelancers use them, journalists definitely, which is my career like path. They definitely use Macs. Mainly they use the MacBook Airs, which is the crappiest version, but they still do use Apple computers. So it's something that I sort of wanted to buy into, because by investing in like a powerful Mac computer or laptop, I'm able to use programs on the Mac like Final Cut, and it'll allow me to, get experience before I start my whole little employment ladder, like rising to the top. So my next personal favourite, this one, reason for buying a Mac, is for the operating system. So Windows, I've had enough of that. Windows doesn't really get on with me. I find it quite over the top and quite complex for what it needs to be. Mac OS X is much better in my own personal opinion. I'm not saying it's better as like a standard, but it's better in my opinion for what I need it to do. I like the whole drag and drop ethos, that I can just like drag a music file from iTunes and plop it into Final Cut, and it can then be added on top of my video or commentary or whatever. So that, along with like the other Mac gestured commands and stuff like that, it's a much more fluent and well put together operating system in my opinion. And I do urge you that if you haven't used it, go down to your local Apple store and just have a little tinker with the computers. See if you like enjoy using them, and mess about with the trackpads on the laptops, because I do think you'll enjoy them. You'll notice that it's a lot more fun and a lot easier to use than just a Windows-based PC, which is a lot more complex in its operating system. And I'm not saying the Mac's simple and it's just for like basics. it is very complex, but those complexities are hidden behind like a much smoother user interface. So it's still got just the right amount of complexity as a Windows PC, and any advanced user would be able to uncover all that. But it does make it a lot easier for a less computer literate user, should we say. Now, the next one, this point, is used all the time by Mac fanboys. And yes, I know, both sides have fanboys. I'm not being discriminative against PC users. But Mac fanboys always talk about security. And they are right to an extent. Now, Windows is about as open to viruses as a hooker's vagina. You're always going to get one at some point. So, because Apple has a relatively small share of the PC market, there's not really any reason why you should create a virus for it, because obviously, if you write a virus, you can infect a few million PCs that are Apple and Mac based. Whereas if you do it for Windows, there are billions of computers that are running Windows all over the world, and in third world countries and in Africa and stuff like that, they don't use Macs because they're expensive. That wouldn't really make any sense. They instead use Windows-based netbooks, PCs, and stuff like that because it's cheaper. But it also means that there's a much, much bigger market, and so there's a lot more chance of getting a virus on a Windows PC. So I enjoy the fact that my Mac's a lot more secure in that sense. Now, those are my sort of points, but don't get me wrong, I'm not saying in any way that a non-Apple PC is a bad product. I'm not trying to start a flame war, I'm not trying to do any of that. In fact, all I've done this commentary really is justify why I'm getting a Mac and why I use a Mac, when I really shouldn't. I should just be saying I'm happy with my Mac, I don't care what you think. Now, my own personal stance on this whole fanboy, like Mac versus PC war, is that each computer's pros and cons are very much fully dependent on the user's like needs. So I like Macs. I have one hoping that it'll help my future work by being experienced with Final Cut and stuff like that for when I'm doing broadcasting. I have the money to spend on a Mac, so in that respect, a Mac does cater for my needs. Likewise, a PC gamer is not going to buy a Mac because it's not the best for PC gaming. He will instead buy a gaming PC, he'll get the top graphics card, stuff like that, because that will cater his needs. A pensioner who wants to go on the internet will buy a very basic, cheap PC, because that will cater his needs. So long as your computer can cater for your own needs, it doesn't matter whether it's a PC, whether it's a Mac, whether it costs £200, whether it costs £2,000. All that matters is that it does what you want it to do. So, as always guys, I'd really appreciate it if you could comment with your thoughts about the whole discussion of Mac versus PC, like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Until next time guys, please do take care.